Hi everybody, good morning and welcome to the class. I think we are live, so just to double check. Yes, we are live. So thank you very much for attending the class and happy Monday. I hope you had a very good weekend. The plan this week is to continue with the free classes in the morning, and hopefully you can enjoy and you can benefit and you can learn from the classes. It's a good opportunity for you, and for me it's a good opportunity to return to work as well. So fingers crossed they are useful for you. I hope you can understand me. There are subtitles and there are captions available if you need, and I recommend maybe to follow the subtitles to help you understand the class. Okay, so the concept will be very similar compared to the other free classes. We will focus on vocabulary, grammar, use of English, and every part of English really. So that's the plan for today, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this is a picture from yesterday. This is in Dublin, and it's near the centre with Google and Facebook in Dublin. And this is called Boland's Mill. So it is a very nice area, and you can see there is construction happening, and it will be a very expensive and busy place in the next 2 years. So there's a lot of money invested to reconstruct this area. So very interesting. And you can see some nice pictures of Dublin yesterday. This is on my Instagram. So every morning I put the pictures on Instagram from Dublin, and you can see some nice photos. So this is the Instagram page. It's @migliora_inglés, and there's the Twitter page as well if you want. The content is the same on Twitter compared to Facebook, and the Facebook channel is the same as the Twitter, and @migliora for Instagram is obviously just photographs. So you're welcome to join and to connect on Instagram. Also, YouTube has all the class uploaded after the live class. I put the video on YouTube, and some people prefer to connect on YouTube. So you're very welcome to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Okay, so that is the introduction for the Instagram and the social media. Today the structure will be very so let me find the document. The structure will be very similar compared to other days, so I'll just close this and then I will find, yeah, this is the document I'm looking for. So here you can see we'll begin with an introduction. So first we have the introduction document in grammar, which is the same every day, and that's the plan for today, to begin with the introduction document. After the introduction document I have some particular exercises. Okay, so these exercises are famous from the Cambridge exams, and today we will look specifically at the Cambridge exams use of English. Very good exercise and very good activity. Also, we have an article in relation to Amazon, the company Amazon, from the BBC, and some good vocabulary and expressions also here. And then we can continue with the phrasal verb list and the idiom list as well. You are welcome to participate with speaking practice if you want to join the meeting on Zoom. At the moment I am using Zoom, but of course I'm using Facebook Live at the same time. So if you prefer to connect on Zoom, you are welcome. Here is the code and the ID, and you can put a comment in the Facebook story, in the Facebook Live, but I cannot see the comment until later. So if you want to interact immediately, if you have a question, you can use directly Zoom, and I can answer your questions if you have one. Okay, so that's possible on Zoom. The code is here. This morning we had a very good speaking group this morning. So here I want to show you, we have specific, obviously, free classes every morning at 11:15. So that's no problem. We will continue with the English classes in the morning at 11:15. Also, we have speaking groups. Okay, so at 9 o'clock in the morning we have a speaking session dedicated just to practice speaking and correction and some vocabulary as well. This morning was very gentle, it was very easy, but you are welcome to join, to participate. It's €1 to participate, and a maximum of 10 people will be a lot. But there is a WhatsApp group. I have created a WhatsApp group to join. If you're interested, you can participate and you can register and book your place on the WhatsApp group. Okay. Also, we have specific webinars. So today at 4 o'clock, we will begin or continue with the grammar webinar. So today at 4 o'clock Ireland time, we have a specific webinar in relation to grammar, dedicated to grammar topics, and you can participate by asking questions. The link is on Zoom. Okay, it's a private link webinar, but if you want to join, you can contact me and I can book your place. Okay, that's today for grammar. Tomorrow we have sport. Wednesday it's the IELTS exam. Thursday it's the C1 advanced exam, and my spelling I need to change. And Friday we have business English, and Saturday it's the B2. So that's the plan for the week. We have the free classes in the morning at 11:15 for free. Okay, then we have the speaking groups at 9 o'clock every morning for €1, no problem, and very, very good. And then we have specific webinars every afternoon at 4 o'clock on Zoom. Today, the webinar is grammar. Okay, so that's the plan for today. I will share the screen now and I will show you the introduction document, because this document is very important in my opinion, and you are very welcome to participate on Zoom, of course, as I said. But here I will put the class notes as well for writing and for vocabulary. And again, today is my second day using the Apple computer, which is very interesting. I think the quality of camera is maybe less. It's not as good as before. So I think the camera is a little different. I'm using exactly the same camera, but I think the quality looks a little bit different, but no problem. Okay, so this document is the most important document in my opinion, and I want to explain there are 3 sections. The first section is the use of English, and this area, when you learn English, in my opinion, is probably the most important area, use of English. Okay, so in use of English, we can see there are 3 different topics. There is accents. Okay, so we have different accents when we speak English. You have different types of English in Australia, New Zealand, United States, United Kingdom, Ireland. We have very different accents, different velocities, different rhythms, and different vocabulary. So this is maybe the biggest area when you're learning English, to understand the different accents and to understand the local and the native people in conversation. Very, very hard. So in my opinion, it's maybe at the top of the list and the most important area. Okay. The next topic is phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs and idioms are very unique and very particular to English. They are very typical in conversation with friends, with family. They're also typical in serious and formal situations. So basically the phrasal verb is the verb plus a preposition, and it's possible a second completely different significance. And this is the reason they are very important, because it changes the significance of the sentence very frequently. Okay, so phrasal verbs are a huge part of English, and they are so important to master English. We speak with phrasal verbs very quickly, and it's very difficult to identify the phrasal verb. Okay, so really, really important. Of course, conversation and pronunciation is a big part of English. So reading is important, listening is important, writing is completely different and very important. Grammar is necessary to study, and speaking. They're the 5 big areas to improve English, and you are welcome during this class to participate with your speaking. You can use the code, and also in the morning at 9 o'clock we have a specific class dedicated to speaking and correction. So hopefully you can join us in the group. And also pronunciation is important. Sometimes English is a little irregular in relation to pronunciation, and we have some particular difficulties and particular phonetic irregularities when we use English. So during the class I try to identify this. Okay. The second area are the tenses. So when you speak English, you need to be very sure and very clear with the concepts of the time and the tenses in English. Now, I just want to show you the most important list of the tenses, but it's your obligation, it's your responsibility to be very clear and very sure with the grammar and with the tenses. But just now I want to introduce you to the terms, because during the class I use the terms frequently. Okay, so basically we have the simple, present simple, one action you do in the present, present simple. Past simple is the past, and we have a lot of irregular past verbs, and this is one action you do in the past. This is the difficulty, because there's a lot of irregular verbs in the past simple. We also have the future simple, we have the present continuous, past continuous, future continuous. Then we have the perfect. We have the present perfect and the past perfect, and we also have the future perfect. The concept of the present perfect is the period in time that's finished. The action is finished, but the result and the consequences are related and relevant to now. This is the present perfect. The past perfect is usually the period of time in the past before another action in the past simple. So the perfect is very important, the simple and the continuous. The concept of the infinitive, you can see here, the infinitive is the base or the foundation of the verb, and typically the infinitive is to go, to eat, to drink, to have, with to plus the verb. This is the infinitive, okay? And that's very, very important. During the class, I mention and use the term infinitive frequently. Conditionals are very important in English. In the book, they're very heavy. We have a lot of theory in relation to the conditionals. Zero conditional, first, second, third, mixed conditional. Basically, it's related to if and a different time. So if I speak to my friend tomorrow, I will talk about the sport. Okay, so it depends on the word if and a different time. That's the area of the conditional. In the book, it's very heavy and the theory is a little difficult, but in reality, it's less strict and it's a little more flexible in my opinion. Okay, and during the specific webinars in relation to grammar on Mondays, the conditionals will be one topic very soon. Okay, active and the passive is the final concept. So the active is the subject, the verb and the object. The typical structure in English is the active, and then frequently we create the passive by changing the position of the subject and the object. We also introduce the extra verb to be, auxiliary verb plus the participle of the original verb. And here's one example. The man kicked the ball is the active. The man kicked the ball. And to create the passive, we change the position. The ball was extra verb to be. Kicked is the participle by the man. Just one example of the active and the passive. And it's very advanced, very frequent, and very impressive when you use it correctly. Okay, so that's the area of the tenses. And it's necessary you are familiar with the ideas of the different tenses. That's really important that you are clear with the different tenses. And this is key to understanding this class, but it's also key to understanding the language. And I recommend that you try in your own language to understand the structures in your own language, because this is an important way to learn another language. I'll give you my example. I studied French at university, and when I studied French, I realized more about English. And when I learned more about English, it helped me to understand the other languages. So this is a big tip, as you probably know, okay? Then we have other grammar concepts and other grammar ideas, and the terms are very important here. For example, a noun, everything, person, place, or thing is a noun. For example, hand, head, jacket, noun, noun, noun. In Espanol, substantivo. Every noun, you need an article. There are two articles, a hat or the hat. A is possible two pronunciations, a or a, and the is the definite article. So there's two articles. There's one rule. When the noun begins with a vowel, A-E-I-O-U, we generally use an apple, an orange, okay? So the noun has the article. We also have adjectives, and the function of the adjective is to describe the noun, and the position of the adjective is before the noun, because in Spanish and Portuguese, I think the position of the adjective is after, but in English, the position of the adjective is before the noun, and the function is to describe the noun, okay? So article, adjective, noun. We also have adverb. So the adverb's function is to describe the verb, and typically the adverb is ly, quickly, slowly, happily, rapidly. This is an adverb, and the function is to describe the verb, okay? You can see here adverb. We also have the concept of comparative and superlative in the adjective. Good, better, best, big, bigger, biggest, interesting, more interesting, most interesting, okay? Less interesting, least interesting. That area is very important. You're very accurate and precise with your execution, okay? Modal verbs are very unique to English, and modal verbs are very common. You can see the list here: can, could, may, might, shall, should, ought to, must. Modal verbs, very important, very common. For example, can is for ability and permission. I can play the piano. I can jump 2 meters. It's my ability. Could, may, and might are practically the same. Very, very similar. May and might are possibly a little more formal, but the significance is for possibilities and options. I may go to the city centre. I might go to the city centre. I could go to the city centre. All very, very similar. Shall is like will, it's a question. Shall we watch the football? Shall we have a coffee? It's will, it's the question, okay? And should and ought to are typical for advice and recommendation. My advice for you, you should watch the football. You should go to the cafe. It's my advice and my recommendation. The next verb, ought to, the pronunciation is difficult because the G is silent. Ought to has the same significance as the verb should. You ought to watch the football. You ought to go to the cafe. More formal, more advanced, but very good quality English. And must is the obligation. You must watch the football. You must go to the cafe. You have no choice. It's an obligation. The rule, the most important rule with the modal verbs, the next verb can go, must have. The next verb we eliminate to, because normally the verb, normally the foundation and the base is the infinitive, to go, to eat, but the exception after the modal verb we eliminate to. This is important, okay? Prepositions are a big part of English. They are small words, very, very small words. We have 150 prepositions approximately. They are related to movement, direction, and position. For example, speak in general, I speak, but direction, I speak to you. Look in general, I look, but I look at you. So prepositions are important for direction, for movement, I go across the road, and for position. The chocolate cake is in my hand, it's over my hand, under my hand, beside my hand, below my hand. So prepositions are for position, movement, and direction. So imagine they are so important because we speak about direction, movement, and position every moment, okay? The next section is important. They're called the possessive adjective, the possessive pronoun, and the object pronoun. Okay, so basically the difference between my coffee, your coffee, his coffee, her coffee, it's possession, adjective, okay? But the coffee is mine, the coffee is yours, the coffee is his, the coffee is hers. That's called the possessive pronoun, okay? And it's so important you're very clear with this area. And finally, give the coffee to me, give it to you, give it to him, give it to her is the object pronoun. That's the technical explanation, but in reality, you need to be very accurate and very precise, particularly in relation to his, her, his, hers, him, her. So that area is very important. And you need to study and you need to be very clear with that. The difference between this, that, these, and those, the difference between another, other, the other, and the other is very important. Creating the question in English is very key. So there are different structures to create the question. And of course, today it's not possible to explain all the structures, but it's just an indication for you, for the area you need to concentrate on and focus, okay? Suffixes and prefixes are a big area as well, and the little ending of the word is a big indicator for the form of the verb, of the word. Is the word verb? Is the word adjective? Is the word noun? Is the word adverb? And the suffix and the prefix is a big indicator for this, and it's important because many people who speak English confuse the suffixes frequently, and it's just detail that you need to pay attention to, okay? Linkers, conjunctions are very important, how we link and make the sentence. We have some simple linkers, but we have some more advanced linkers as well. And that's the majority of the explanation for today, for the introduction. That document is the base. It's the same content compared to a grammar book. It's the same for all grammar books, all teachers, all classes, explain in different ways, but basically it's the same base that we all have, okay? And this document I will put on the Facebook page below the video every day after the free class, okay? Again, writing is important, completely different, and exam preparation. You have the Cambridge exams, and we have specific webinars every day, okay? So I think that's perfect. Just to double check, we are live. I'm going to check the Facebook to make sure we are still live. So here we can see, yeah, I think we're still functioning and we're working. Good, fantastic, because I don't want to be speaking and not to be live. Okay, so today, now, I want to show you a very, very special exercise, only for very special people, of course, and only for interesting classes. So this document is a exercise from the Cambridge exams, okay? This is a typical exercise. So the structure is you have one article. So here you can see it's an article, ordinary article from magazine, from newspaper, from book, and it's just one general, ordinary, fluent article, okay? And your job is to select the correct option from the list. Okay, so here we have a list of vocabulary. Number 1, we have hold, keep, save, stay. Okay, and that's important vocabulary. And I'm just trying to delete that. But, oh, I know I'm having disasters with the apples, so I'll try and cancel that. Yes, okay. So this is the structure. This is the exercise. We have one article, and you need to read the article, and you need to select the correct option first. Okay, so this is a good exercise number 1, but also it's a good activity to look at vocabulary and to teach in relation to grammar and expressions. So I like these exercises a lot. So my technique first is to read the paragraph for pronunciation, and then I will identify the key words and the key vocabulary, and then together we can try the exercises. Okay, so we'll start. Why we need to play. Human beings are not the only creatures. Okay, I'll stop using the arrow because maybe it makes a problem. Human beings are not the only creatures that like to something fun. Okay, so this is the expression something fun, and here, okay, probably you know the answer already instinctively. Probably the answer is to have fun, but also they give you the option here. Okay, so option A, have, do, get, take, fun, and the answer is A. So the answer is to have fun, but also in relation to fun, I want to explain the difference between fun and funny, because this is simple, but some people confuse. So fun is the noun, and it's typical to have a lot of fun. Okay, so to have fun, and funny is the adjective, and it's typical to be funny. Okay, so that's the big secret and the big difference, and some people confuse them frequently. So you had fun at the weekend, you had fun at the party, but the party is funny, or the party was funny, adjective. It's more complicated because you can use fun as a noun and you can use fun as an adjective as well. Okay, but that's the confusion. So it is possible as well. You can say fun is an adjective, and that means the person is fun, he is entertaining, he or she is a good person to be beside, they are fun. But funny is more laughing, ha ha ha. So if somebody is funny, they are entertaining in relation to make you laugh. But if you have fun at a party, you have a good time. So there is a little difference between the three, and you need to be very careful. Okay, here, many animals. So my question is, why not much animals? So this is the question, why not much animals? And the answer is because animal is countable. So you can count 1 animal, 2 animals, 3 animals, no problem. So for this, we say many. So many is related to countable. How many pens, how many books, how many televisions, how many animals. But if it's uncountable, for example, chocolate, water, air, we say how much air, how much chocolate, how much water. So the difference between how much and how many. Okay, and that's the reason we say many here. As do some birds. Okay, sorry, I will read it for pronunciation first and then I will analyze after. As do some birds. However, no other creatures spend so much time enjoying themselves as human beings do. Indeed, we something onto our sense of fun right into adulthood. Little difficult sentence. So why do human beings spend so much time playing? One reason is that we have time for leisure. Animals have very little time to play, as most of their life is spent sleeping and something food. Okay, and I'll show you the options now in a minute. So is play just an opportunity for us to something in? So that's probably the key in relation to the answer. To something in. This is the combination. Enjoyable activities, or does it have to have a more important something? Okay, and we have to find the answer. According to scientists, something being fun, play has several very real, number 6, okay, for us. It helps our physical, intellectual, and social development. It also helps to something us for what we have not yet experienced. With very something risk, we can, modal verb, we can act out what we would do in unexpected or even dangerous situations. Okay, so now I will put the options just to explain the vocabulary first. So I'll just make it a bit smaller as well. It might be very difficult for you to see, but hopefully you can understand. So hold, keep, save, and stay, they are, of course, important. They could be very, very similar. So it just depends on the context. Hold, typically you hold a pen, you hold a ball. Keep is maybe to continue, keep going, keep eating, keep drinking, continue. Save is typical with money, save time, save energy. So it's all related to the context, okay? And stay is maybe in location. Stay in Dublin, stay in Ireland, stay in Italy. It's about the position and the location, okay? So it just depends on the context. Okay, so let's look at the first paragraph. Human beings, okay, and as do. So this is a bit difficult because many animals play, as do some birds. So as do here has the significance also. So do is emphasis for the repetition of the verb to play. So I like playing sport, as does my friend. So that means I like playing sport. Like, as, and like are very similar. Like my friend likes to play. So it's a substitution for the same verb, do. So it's a bit difficult for sure, because normally the verb to do is hacer in Espanol, but here it means many animals play, and also the translation here, so also some birds like to play. That's difficult. It's very fluent. It's very small, but it's very advanced, and it's very typical in conversation. So that structure, as do, is a bit difficult. So I'll give you another example. I like chocolate, okay, as does my friend. Okay, that means my friend also likes chocolate. Okay, really simple, really fluent, and very easy for native speakers, but for people learning English, it's a bit difficult. Another example, he went to the shop, as did your friend. And you can see here, we have changed the tense. So the tense here is the present simple, and the tense here is the past simple, because the verb here corresponding is the past simple, and the verb here corresponding is the present simple. So that's very important. So again, it's a simple structure for native speakers, but it's a bit difficult for you maybe to understand, but it's a secret and it's very fluent, okay? However, has the significance in Espanol, sin embargo, it's a contrast. I like the city centre, however, it's very cold. I like this food, however, it's very expensive. So for contrast, we use however, okay? No other. So remember the difference between other and another. So basically here it's other, and the reason it's other is because of the S, the plural, other days, other weeks, other years. And for singular, we say another. So this is just a simple but important example. So another creature, but other creatures. And I think you are probably familiar with this, especially if you have watched the classes before. So another is singular and other is for plural, okay? Spend, of course, is related to money. You spend your money, you can spend energy, but typically you spend time, okay? You spend a lot of time studying, you spend a lot of time in Ireland. It's like to pass. You can pass a lot of time. And here, much time is because time is uncountable. We do not say 1 time, 2 times, 3 times in relation to time. You can say 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So because it's uncountable, we say how much milk, how much water, how much sugar, how much money. They're all uncountable, and that's the reason here we use much and not many. Okay. Also, so is used to intensify the adjective and intensify the word much. So you are happy, but he is so happy. It's to intensify, okay, with the adjective. And I think most people understand that. So plus the adjective is to intensify. And I'll just make that a little bigger because I don't know what happened with the text. So 1 moment, because I need everybody to see. 14. No, we make it bigger to 18. Okay, so yeah, so is very important, and it's flexible in English. And here, so much is to intensify. Okay, so you have so much time. It's really a lot of time. Okay. Enjoying themselves. This is reflexive grammar in reflexive verbs. Okay, I wash myself. Okay, I enjoy myself. You enjoy yourself. He enjoys himself. She enjoys herself. We enjoy ourselves. So that's called reflexive verbs, and they are very important. So here it's enjoying themselves as human beings. So this is also comparison, like, as human beings do. So again, this is probably the same example. Do is repetition for the verb to enjoy. Okay, I enjoy myself. Again, as you can see here, as do. So it's exactly the same. As do some birds, and as do human beings, but the position is a bit different. So maybe this confuses you. Okay, so basically the significance is they enjoy themselves, the creatures enjoy themselves, and also the human beings enjoy themselves. So that little structure, as do, is very simple, but very, very good. Okay, very advanced and very impressive. Indeed is like in fact. Okay, it's typical in English as well, probably formal. And when you want to agree with somebody, you have two possibilities. One is in fact, de hecho, and the other one is maybe just to agree. So you say, Brian, the weather today is very bad, and I say, indeed. So indeed is to agree. A synonym, I agree, is maybe just indeed. Okay, and that's very formal, it's very polite, and it's very good quality English. We, so here's the first question. We something onto, so the subject is we, and so the preposition is onto, so it's just location, on, to, movement and direction and location. Our sense of fun, so remember fun in this case is the noun, our sense of enjoyment, our sense of time, so our sense of fun, no problem. Okay, right into, this is difficult as well, and adulthood is very important. So first, the word adulthood, we have the suffix hood. Remember the area, prefix and suffix. So one suffix is a hood, and you can say, for example, motherhood, you can say neighborhood, you can say parenthood, also maybe childhood. So these are the typical suffixes. Okay, but basically a hood is a capucha in Espanol. So you have the jacket and you have the hood. So it's exactly the same concept, because imagine the neighbor, vecino, you have the neighbor, and the neighborhood is all the neighbors. So it's covered with the same concept as the capucha. Okay, motherhood is exactly the same. So you are a mother maybe from 18 until forever. So you're always a mother if you have a child from the time you give birth. So motherhood is all the years covered. So this is the significance of the suffix hood, and this is a very important idea to consider. Okay, so motherhood, parenthood, childhood, here adulthood. So this signifies all the years that you are an adult. Okay, so adulthood is from maybe 18 until you die. That's adulthood. Okay, right is a bit confusing because obviously it's direction. You turn left, but you turn right. But here it means completely. So for example, and then into is the movement of the period. So completely into. So I'll give you another example. It's difficult to think of an example at the moment, but yeah, okay, so you're walking on the street and you walk right into a crowd. Okay, so it's confusing. So you're walking on the street and you walk right into a crowd. This has no connection to direction right, completely different. Okay, so this is the reason it's confusing. So I walked right into a crowd has the same significance, exactly the same significance. I walked straight into a crowd. Okay, and here in the sentence in the text, arguably, possibly, you could say the significance straight into adulthood, but it's not really good. So I walked right into a crowd. This means you just walked directly or absolutely into the crowd. Okay, it was a bit of a silly action, but it was a mistake and you walked right into them. So it has no connection with the direction right. It just means completely and absolutely. So it's a bit difficult, or totally. It's a bit difficult. And here it means something, our sense of fun into adulthood, but absolutely emphasis completely into adulthood, the movement into the period. Okay, and the options we have. So let me find the options here. I think I moved it. Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to show you the options now. Perfect. So the options we have here are number one, hold onto our sense of fun. Number one, keep onto, save onto, or stay onto. Very, very interesting. Okay, so the options are hold onto, keep onto, save onto. Number one, stay onto is possible, but in a different context. So I'm going to show you the example, stay onto. And the context is the telephone, because you are on the telephone. And if you stay onto your friend, that means you continue on the telephone. Okay, so to stay onto my friend is maybe the telephone, and the significance is to continue talking. Okay, because I am on the phone and I stay onto my friend. Stay on, of course, is more it's easier. Stay on the bus, stay on the plane, no problem. But onto is a bit tricky. So the only context really with stay onto is the telephone, and for this reason it's not possible for number one. Save onto is not really typical. Okay, so the verb to save time, save money, save energy. Okay, and that means you keep, como ahorrar, I think in Espanol. But also in soccer or in football, you can save. The goalkeeper saves the ball. You can save a person, which is to rescue. So there's two meanings really. Save in relation to keep, which is the same context here, or save in terms of rescue. To save a person, to save an animal is to rescue. Okay, so very interesting use of English, and this is the reason that area is the most important of context, in my opinion. So save onto is not really possible. There's no real combination in English with save onto. Keep onto, yes. So to keep is obviously for a long time. Your friend gives you a special item and you keep the item. But keep onto maybe is physically hold. Keep onto is maintain, save. So they're very, very similar, but it is possible. Keep onto this, which has exactly the same significance as number 1A, hold onto. But number 1A, hold onto, is very, very common and very typical. Okay, so number one, if you're on the stairs and you're walking up the stairs, you need to hold on to the rail. So the rail is the part of the stairs to help you walk. Okay, so hold on to the rail. The second significance is to keep. So to hold on to the item. So your friend gives you the special item and you hold on to the item, has the significance you keep. This is the reason it's confusing, okay, for this answer. But because you have the preposition onto, number one, it's more typical, hold on to. So basically, we hold on to our sense of fun, has exactly the same significance. We keep our sense of fun. So I'll just write this just to show you. So to hold on to our sense of fun has the same significance as to keep our sense of fun. Okay, so very interesting and a good example of the context and the use of English. So basically, because you have the preposition here onto, immediately you think hold on to. Okay, good. A little good example. All right, so number two. So why do human beings spend so much time playing? One reason is that we have time for leisure. And remember, leisure is relaxing time. You have a lot of leisure time, free time. Okay, leisure time has the significance free time, como ocio in Espanol. We have an expression to do something at your leisure. That's a very famous expression, very typical, and the significance means when you want. Okay, so do it at your leisure has the significance to do it whenever you want. So it's not necessary today. It's not necessary at 8 o'clock. There is no limit, at your leisure. So relax. You can enjoy. You can take your time. So do it at your leisure is a very famous expression. So for leisure, animals have very little time to play. And again, the importance of little. So the difference between little and few. Okay. You can say I have related to uncountable. I have little time, I have little money, I have little energy, I have little chocolate. Means obviously a small quantity, but a few is maybe in relation to countable. Okay, a few days, a few weeks, a few people. So I think that's the difference between little and few. If it's uncountable, we say little. Okay, and that's a common error. A lot of people confuse few and little, so you need to be very clear. So basically, I think little is related to uncountable, little water, little money, little time, little energy, because it's impossible to count. And for countable, we say few days, few people, few times. Okay, so you get the idea. So here, very little time to play as. So again, as is important because as is similar to like, but it's more complicated because as also means because. I am going to the shop as I need milk. I'm going to the shop because I need milk. So as is very flexible. It means like. You look like your sister. You look like your friend. Similarity. But also it has the significance because. So I go to the shop as I need milk. There's another significance which is mientras. And in English, mientras is while. Okay. So I go to the shop as you go to the bar. So at the same time, I go to the shop as you go to the bar, which means while. So as is so important and so flexible. And here it has the significance as most of their life because. So here it has the significance because most of their life is spent sleeping. And remember again, the word life. So life is the noun, but the verb is to live. Okay, and the pronunciation is important. The verb to live and the noun is life. But normally we eliminate that. We just say life in general. And that is key. Spent sleeping and something food. So the context here is in relation to food. And what options do we have? Searching food, looking food, seeking food, and gaining food. A very, very interesting option. Okay, very, very interesting options because they are very, very similar. And excuse me for moving this all the time. It's having a bit difficult. But I think you understand the idea. This number 2 is very, very interesting. Okay, I'll leave it here at the bottom and I'll cancel this, no problem. Okay, yeah, okay. So the context is food, searching food, looking food, seeking food, gaining food. What do you think is the correct answer? Maybe now is the good idea to put your answer in the Facebook page if you want, and you can try your answer. Hopefully we have people with different opinions because it's a very interesting one. And do you think it's searching food, looking food, seeking food, gaining food? Maybe I'll give you 5 seconds. And it's a very interesting one, okay? So the answer, well, the explanation, because search, we typically say search for. I am searching for food. I am searching for a house. I am searching for a job, searching for an apartment. So that's the typical rule. To search is very, very common and very typical for. It is possible to search with a noun. I'm searching my bag. I'm searching my room. So yes, it's not always search for, but it is possible to search my room, to search my bag, which means you're looking, okay, in your room. So it's possible to search. That's the little difference. And honestly, I think this is the big difficulty in English to master. You need to be very clear with the use of the prepositions and when we do not use. So this is just one example, and this is a very good example, okay? So if it's the noun, you're searching for something in particular, but you search the area, search the room, okay? And the significance of search food means you're actually investigating the food. So I'm searching the food for bad animals or bad insects. So there is a difference to search for food and to search food. But of course, search food is not typical. Number 2, looking. Looking food. Okay, interesting because maybe it sounds possible. But again, looking is typical with the preposition for. I'm looking for a house. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for food. So that's the typical secret, to look for. Okay, and that's the answer for the explanation. But number 3 is a very, very good verb. And this is a bit advanced, but the verb is to seek. And to seek has the same significance as look for. But the secret and the difference with seek, there's no preposition required. So I'm seeking a house, I'm seeking a job, I'm seeking food. Has the significance, I am looking for food, I am looking for a job. So to seek has the same significance to look for, but the secret and the difference with seek, there's no preposition required. Okay, so to seek a job, to seek an apartment. Very good verb, very, very good. And the past is sought. Okay, so in the past it's irregular. I sought, and there is a phrasal verb, sought after, which means very demanded. Okay, so this is a very good expression. If something is sought after, and maybe you can put it together, the significance is it's very demanded. A lot of people want it. So this apartment is very sought after. That means this a lot of people want this apartment. A lot of people are looking for this apartment. This iPhone is very sought after. A lot of people are looking and searching for this type of iPhone. Very, very good expression, very advanced, okay? So number C, or letter C, is definitely a possibility for the answer, because letter A and letter B are not really possible for the explanation for. And then finally, the verb to gain. Again, very interesting, because the verb to gain, you do not need prepositions, so there's no preposition required for gain. So maybe it's a possibility, maybe it's a candidate. So the typical context with gain, we say gain respect or gain trust. They're the typical context: gain trust, gain respect, gain reputation. Okay, very, very typical context. Remember, you need to be very, very clear with the difference between to gain, to win, and to earn. So to win is typical for the competition. You win the sport, you win the match, you win the competition. Gain is something you maybe work for, and earn is very, very similar to gain, because earn, you can say earn trust, earn respect, earn a reputation. There's a little difference. Probably earn is related to the reward for the work you do. So you receive the reward for the work you do, and this is the context of to earn. Very typical with money. So you earn money, you earn your salary, you earn your wages. Okay, really, that's the area. So ganar in Espanol probably literally is to gain, but in the context of English, we earn money, you earn your salary. Okay, earn salary, earn money. And you can hear my friend. This is my friend. You can hear him speaking. He speaks in English. He's very good, and his vocabulary is really, really good. So sometimes he likes to introduce and to speak some complicated structure. So I hope you can understand him. So sometimes he shouts. So I'm sorry about that. And actually, shout is not the best verb, because we say to shout, to bark. So typical for the person, we say to shout, which is like gritar. To bark is typical for the dog, but this guy is completely different. We say the verb to howl, and to howl is when the husky or the wolf, it's the sound that the wolf makes, so he is howling. Okay, so number 2, you can gain trust, win, or earn, but because it's food, earn is not really appropriate for the answer. So I think number 2 would be seeking food. Okay, so really good exercise. Let's look at number 3. So first, the options we have for number 3: engage, combine, contribute, and involve. So very similar vocabulary, very good quality English, but the sentence so also means as a result. So can be intensified, so happy, so much, to intensify. But so in Espanol is like pues, it's like as a consequence, as a result. I'm very happy, so I will enter the room, for example. It's the consequence of so. Here so it's a question, because we have the verb is, because there's no subject, so it's a question. And you can see at the bottom it's a question. This is the reason we have the verb with no subject, because normally we need the subject. Is play just an opportunity for us to engage in enjoyable activities, to combine in enjoyable activities, to contribute in enjoyable activities, or to involve in? Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Or does it have a more important motive, purpose, intention, or cause? So hopefully you can see everything there now together. Very, very interesting. Okay, so here the secret is the preposition. After number 3, you can see for us to something in. So probably it's a structure to something in. And maybe immediately in my mind, I think to participate in, which is very common. Okay, so to participate in is very important. To take part in, very, very common, very important. So these are the typical combinations. And again, now is the opportunity for you to put your answer. So if you want to put your answer, you can, in the Facebook page, you can maybe write your answer and you can see if you're right. So number 3 and number 4. So is play just an opportunity for us to A, B, C, or D? And number 4, does it have a more important A, B, C, or D? So again, now is your opportunity to write, and I will explain the answer. Again, immediately when I see the structure to something in, I think to participate in, to take part in, but it's not an option for number 3. To engage in, yes, that's definitely a possibility, and that's definitely a structure, and it's very, very typical to engage in. So the verb to engage is maybe to connect, okay? So to engage a person in conversation is to connect with a person in conversation. It's very important because there's lots of context with the adjective engaged. So maybe the telephone is engaged. Okay, that's really typical for the telephone. If the telephone is engaged, the significance is that you cannot contact your friend because the telephone is engaged. So you can, if your friend is using the telephone, you cannot contact your friend because it's engaged. Okay, that's number one. Also, when you want to marry a person, you are engaged because you're interacting or you're involved with one person, so you are engaged. So it's typical for the telephone, it's typical for marriage, and it's typical in the toilet. So if you enter the toilet and it's not possible to enter because somebody is using the toilet, we say the toilet is engaged. Okay, and I'll just show you the vocabulary. There we go, perfect. So engaged is typical for the toilet. It's typical for the telephone. It's typical for when you get married. Okay, so really, really flexible word in English. And the verb is to engage in, which means to maybe involve yourself in. So you engage in conversation, you engage in this activity, which means to participate or to involve yourself. So it's very, very good. So it's a big possibility. Number 3A, it's a big possibility. Combine in, not really, because the verb to combine is typical with. Okay, so you combine chocolate with sugar, you combine chocolate with milk. Typical combine with. That's the typical preposition. So my instinct, my feeling, probably B is not really the correct answer. Contribute is a very good verb, but the typical preposition with contribute is to. So you contribute something to the class, you contribute something to the party. So it's very typical. Contribute to, really, really common. So for this reason, I have a feeling C is probably not the answer, okay? And then finally, involve in. Okay, so the verb to involve, yes, it's very, very common with the preposition in. So you are involved in this project, you are involved in this activity. So yes, it's very, very typical to involve in. And for this reason, we have two possibilities, A and D. Okay. My extra point is normally we say to be involved in. So probably the correct structure with involved is maybe to be involved in. That's most typical. So for example, I am involved in this activity. I am involved in this project. So it's very typical with the verb to be. And because we do not have the verb to be, I have a feeling the answer is probably A. Okay, so for us to engage in enjoyable activities, for me that fits better than D. So a little difficult because a lot of people will probably choose D, but for this reason it's important. Okay, and then the final answer for, or does it have a more important motive, purpose, intention, or cause? And it could be A. A motive is, it's motivo in Espanol. Does it have a more important motive? Does it have a more important purpose, intention, or cause? So maybe intention is more personal. Your intention, my intention, his intention. So for this reason, probably C is not really typical because intention is typical for a person or your action, and there's no real action here. Motive is a possibility, but again, motive is maybe for a person. What is your motive? What is his motive? So probably motive and intention are maybe more typical with people, and there's no people really involved here because it is the activity. Okay, so the activity has a more important, probably B, purpose. So the purpose of the project, the purpose of the language, the purpose of the meeting. So when it's the object like meeting, language, activity, it's very typical the purpose of the activity. But this is difficult because everybody will understand you if you select A, B, C, and even D, the cause. So cause is just slightly different. I'm happy because in Spanish it's causa, so you understand the significance. But in Portuguese, I think it's probably similar, and other languages may be similar. But for me, I think arguably probably be. Okay, the purpose of the project is difficult. So that's a good exercise, and it's just a little introduction today. So these activities and these exercises are very good. I will put the full exercise on the page below the video, and you can try the exercise today, and I will put the answers when you are finished. But it's a really good exercise, and it's good quality English. And I'll just close it now, but it's just an example of good exercises for you to do. Okay, so remember, you are welcome to join the meeting. I'll put the code here again so you can see the meeting, and you are welcome to participate. But in the meantime, or while you can connect, I will show you an article. Okay, so this is just a typical article from the news, and the title is about Amazon. It's from the BBC, and the BBC website is generally really good for quality of English. It's very clear, it's very direct, but at the same time they use very, very good vocabulary and good expressions. So that's my plan, maybe to continue with the article. You're welcome now, if you want to practice speaking with everybody, you can join the meeting and we can do the practicing the speaking, or we can continue to phrasal verbs and idioms. I'm a little open to all the suggestions. Maybe we can look at the I don't know. But anyway, while we're waiting, I will show you here. Again, today at 4 o'clock, we have a specific webinar in relation to grammar. So today at 4 o'clock, you are welcome to join the webinar at 4 o'clock on Zoom. It's specifically related to grammar, and you can connect and you can contact me to book your place. We will do 1 hour of work in relation to grammar, and there'll be questions and exercises as well. So that's a possibility if you want to join. I think we have a few people already. So if you want to join, you are welcome. That is today. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll continue with the article. I have a little doubt because last week I know we did a lot of articles, but no problem, because more vocabulary the better. It's a good idea. This is the reason I have the doubt, because I know last week we did maybe 3 or 4 articles, but no problem. Okay, I still have the itchy nose. And you remember the expression, when you have an itchy nose, you want to have an argument with somebody. So that's just a famous expression. Okay, I'll move this down to the bottom. Okay, so the union. No, sorry, I'm going to do the phrasal verbs because we've done enough of grammar and enough of explanation. So let me move to the phrasal verbs or the idioms. Let's do idioms. So this list again is a list of idioms and a list of expressions. They are very common in English. There are 20 pages. Well, no, there's 7 pages here, but you can find a lot of idioms and you can find a lot of expressions on the internet. This is just one typical list of idioms. And last week we stopped with red hot. If something is red hot, it could mean a lot of people want the product. Remember the vocabulary today, sought after. If this iPhone is very sought after, it's possible to say this iPhone is red hot. That means a lot of people want the product. It's red hot, it's very popular, it's very demanded, and a lot of people want it. It's red hot. Okay, so that's one example. Of course, it's another possibility to describe something that's really, really hot, to intensify the adjective. The adjective is hot, but if it's red hot, it's extra hot. So if you're in the restaurant and you eat the food and you go, ow, it's red hot, it's like really, really hot. You can also say piping hot. Okay, scalding, really good vocabulary for really, really hot, because the verb is to scald. And I don't know if you remember the verb to scald. It's typical with water. When you boil the water, you scald yourself. When you spill the water on yourself, it could mean to criticize somebody. So to scald somebody is to criticize somebody, but originally it's related to water, hot water. When you scald yourself, it's to burn yourself, but it's a metaphor when you're very angry with somebody or you criticize somebody. Okay, so good vocabulary. Something's red hot, no problem. Red in the face is typical. So if you are embarrassed, so the adjective is embarrassed and you're red in the face, we also say blushing. So this is the typical vocabulary in relation to red in the face. So if you're red in the face, you are blushing because the verb is to blush. And this is related to makeup. So when you put the makeup on your face, you put the blusher. So the blusher is the product for the makeup you put on your face to turn your face red. Okay, so for this reason, the verb is to blush when you're very embarrassed. That's very typical for parents to say to the son or to the daughter, oh, you're blushing, you're going red. And of course, the child is very embarrassed. So really good vocabulary. Blushing and very good, very, very typical vocabulary. Red tape is the next expression. Red tape, obviously tape is like sellotape. So you have sellotape, so the tape is the material. But we also have the verb to tape the movie. Okay, so to tape the movie has the significance to record, because an old tape is an old videotape. The VHS is the videotape. Okay, so the verb is to tape. When you have the record, when you want to record the program, you can say to tape the program. Okay, that's very typical. But red tape is synonym, and it's code for bureaucracy. So if there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of administration, if you want to open a business, you need to do, and you need to write, you need to make a lot of documents, you need to send a lot of emails, you need to ask permission. So this is all red tape. It's an expression, but it's very, very common. The significance is bureaucracy, difficult pronunciation, bureaucracy. And it means a lot of work that you have to do for administration. Okay, road hog is a type of animal. I've never seen that expression before, but a hog is maybe an animal, and a road hog in this sense is an angry driver. So if you're an angry driver, I think in the United States they say a road hog. I have never seen this expression before, but a road hog here has the significance an angry driver. In English, in Ireland, we say he or she has road rage. That's a typical expression. If you have road rage, you're very, very angry, because the adjective is raging and the significance is very crazy. You're mad, you're angry, you are raging. Okay, so if you're raging, you're very, very angry. The noun is rage. Okay, so very good family of vocabulary. And raging is common in conversation. If I'm disappointed and if I'm very angry because of the football, for example, the team lost the football yesterday, and I'm very angry, I'm raging, I'm really, really angry. Or I missed the bus, something simple. If I miss the bus and I'm late, I'm raging, I'm disappointed. So it's very typical in conversation that you're disappointed or you're raging. Okay, the next one, roll out the red carpet, is very famous and very good. So the red carpet, obviously carpet is in the house. So typically in the house on the floor you have the carpet, but be careful, because in Espanol carpeta in English is a folder for the documents. A carpeta in Espanol is a folder. Okay, so in Spanish carpeta is a folder, but carpet is for the floor. So in the room you have the floor and you have the carpet to keep hot and to make the feet warm. This is the carpet. Okay, but the red carpet is obviously for the special occasion. So when the president arrives, when the VIP, so not the VIP. In Spain you say VIP a lot, but in English we say VIP, 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 VIP. VIP is not really used in English. Okay, so we say VIP person, or the very important person, because that's the significance. Very, maybe you don't know, very important person. So when the VIP arrives, you give. In English we use the verb to roll, because this is the verb to roll. Okay, so if you're the child, you roll down the hill. So with the carpet, the red carpet is in the ball, and you need to roll out the red carpet. This has the significance to welcome somebody as best you can, in the best way. A very special welcome is, so my friend will arrive tomorrow and I will roll out the red carpet. I will prepare everything. I will do my best for a very, very special visit. So really good expression, very common, to roll out the red carpet. Okay, means to welcome somebody in a special way. Okay, the next one's very, very good as well, to sail through something. Okay, really good vocabulary, to sail through something. So the verb is to sail, and it's related to the boat. So the action of the boat moving on the river is to sail, and the person is a sailor. Okay, and there's a famous joke as well. My mother ran off with a sailor. Okay, it's a joke. My mother ran off with a sailor, and the significance here is to run off. So the verb to run off is to escape, and of course it's the past irregular. Run, ran. So the phrasal verb to run off is to escape or to leave, to abandon. So to run off is to abandon. So in this case, this is the expression: the mother escaped, abandoned the family with a very handsome, a very attractive sailor who was visiting just for a week. So my mother ran off with a sailor. It's a very famous expression. But the verb to sail is when you're on the boat and you're sailing, so it's very comfortable. Remember, on the yacht, in Hispano, yata. So the yacht, you sail. But the phrasal verb to sail through is normally very comfortable. So because sailing is very easy, it's very comfortable. So for example, the exam, you sailed through the exam. It was very easy, very simple. We also say a piece of cake. Okay, it was a piece of cake. So to sail through the meeting, to sail through the day, to sail through the restrictions is to be very comfortable and very smooth. You remember the vocabulary smooth, like very calm. The water is very smooth. It's very easy. So good vocabulary. To sail through is a very good phrasal verb. Save time. We've seen that already. No problem. Save money, save energy, save time. School of hard knocks is very famous as well. So the verb to knock is typical for the door. Knock, knock. And you know the joke, the knock, knock, knock. Who's there? That's a famous joke in English. So the verb to knock is to hit, but also it could be an impact. If you play sport, you have a knock. It's like a hit or an impact. So the school of hard knock. A hard knock is difficult situation. So when you're a child and people treat you badly and you do not have a lot of success, you do not have a lot of luck, you have a lot of hard knocks because people say no, people reject you. So this is an expression that, okay, some people go to university, you went to a very professional university, but this person went to the school of hard knocks. So he or she has the education from the real life. So it's a very famous expression that you went to the school of hard knocks. Has a significance. You learned the hard way. You learned all the most important lessons in life. Okay, so that's a really good expression. School of hard knocks. Okay, and finally, I'll finish with maybe one or two more. A school of thought is una escuela de pensamiento. No sé si existe, but a school of thought is a group of opinion. Maybe people have a particular opinion. So for example, socialism is a school of thought, capitalism is a school of thought. So it's a collection, an area, an institution, a group of people with the same opinion. So it's a bit flexible, but very, very good as well. Finally, a very good one, very typical. Well, I'll explain the last three because they're very good. Okay, so a schoolboy or a school girl is obviously the boy or the girl that goes to school. That's the schoolboy and the schoolgirl. An error is a mistake. So you imagine the typical mistakes, the typical error that the child makes are very silly mistakes. They're very simple mistakes. You do not expect an adult to make the same mistake as the schoolboy. But this is a metaphor that we use. It's a schoolboy error. So it's a basic error. It's an error or a mistake that an adult should not make, but he makes it or she makes it. Okay, so for example, my telephone, I forget to put my alarm. So I forget to put my alarm when I'm sleeping. It's a schoolboy error. It's something silly. It's something obvious. It's something that the children do. Okay, so it's a very famous expression. Finally, to see eye to eye is really, really good expression. And if you're very honest, if you have a good relationship with somebody, you look eye to eye. Okay. But if you're not happy, if you disagree with the person, if you're not in a good situation, if you're not in a good relationship, you do not see eye to eye, so you ignore the person. So to see eye to eye means you're on the same opinion, the same idea. But if you do not see eye to eye, maybe you have a lot of disagreements. Okay, so really good expression. And finally, to see red, I think, is logical. When you're very angry and you're very mad and you're raging. Remember the vocabulary. You're raging. You're very angry. You're very mad. You see red. So you're in your eyes. You're just furious, and you maybe do some action. So you see red. Okay, brilliant. So they are really good idioms. So that was the idiom list today. Also, we looked at the exercise with some questions, but also some grammar. Okay, and before we had the introduction document in relation to all the grammar. So that's excellent work for today. Really, really good. If you have a question, again, now you can participate if you want. The code for the meeting is here. Remember, today at 4 o'clock, we have the webinar. Okay, so at 4 o'clock, we have a grammar webinar today. You are welcome to contact me to book your place. I think we have 2 or 3 people already, and it could be very good. And there's a small fee of €2.90, but it might be very, very interesting. Right, that's today. Here's the social media. So if you want to connect on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the content on YouTube is practically the same as the Facebook page, but Instagram is very interesting, maybe for the pictures of Dublin. And finally, for me, so this is free. The class is free. I think you know my story, that I started again in January. So January was a good opportunity for me to return to work, because in May it was necessary to stop because it was impossible to work from home. And last March I lived in Madrid. So I was working and living in Madrid before the pandemic. And of course I decided to return to Dublin with my family here in Dublin. So a lot of changes for everybody, and of course everybody has a lot of changes with location, with jobs. So since January, this is my opportunity to return, hopefully, to working. It's a brilliant idea. It's a fantastic opportunity to connect with lots of new people. And last week, the Facebook page reached 5,000 likes, which is amazing. So last week we had more than 5,000 likes or follows on Facebook, which is incredible. So it's a good idea working online. It's my job. This is a free class. It's a good opportunity for you. I hope you're learning a little. If you want to support me, if you want to give a little tip or a little donation, maybe of €1, it would help me a lot, and preferably with bank transfer. So preferably by bank transfer, there are the details. You can make a small donation. It will help me a lot. Of €1, €2, there are the details here for the IBAN and the BIC. Also, it's possible with Bizum, which is a popular application in Spain, and you can transfer directly with Bizum, and the telephone number is here. Or in Ireland, Revolut is also possible, and I have the details here for Revolut. And PayPal is a possibility with the details here, but they take a little commission, so maybe the bank transfer would be better. Thank you everybody who has helped me already. It's a huge support when people donate. And again, that's my story. So I started again in January because we have 6 people at home and a baby, and it was very difficult to work in the house. And here I have a little space and a small space to return to work again, and I'm very happy, and hopefully I can continue this way. It might be difficult. We might have some disruptions and distractions, but I think it could be useful. So that's me. That's my story. Some of you know already, and some of you maybe do not know. So that's the details. So that's everything. I think that's all the information for today. I will continue tomorrow, hopefully in the morning. And again, today at 4 o'clock, we have the free webinar, but also tomorrow morning, we have the speaking class at 9 o'clock. So if you want to practice some speaking, you can join the meeting tomorrow morning. There is the WhatsApp group to participate, to book your place. And here are the details for the speaking group. 9 o'clock, conversation, correction, and vocabulary. And everybody will have an equal amount to speak. Maybe it's difficult with 10 people, but the maximum will be 10 people. And you can join the WhatsApp group if you want to participate. Okay, so that's the plan. And again, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the class, really. I hope you learned a little. I will put the notes below the video in the Facebook page, and it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and hopefully talk to you soon. And now I can check that the Facebook is still working, and I think, yes, it's still working. So hello, and thank you so much. See you later. Bye bye.